When we're having a conversation, particularly a conversation that matters to us, it's easier to notice that the other person is having an impact on what we feel and what we say and what ideas we follow, and harder to recognize our own impact in that moment. It takes practice. You can't see your own face, and often you don't pay attention to the sound of your own voice while you're trying to work through ideas. So, if you want to get better at knowing your own power, at recognizing when you have the lead, when you have influence, you need to train yourself to recognize these sort of behavioral loops where one person puts something out into the conversation and the other person responds to that until you have a chain that can be all influence one way, but is more likely to be just a chain of responses. So begin this way. If you want to get better, begin to people watch when you're out and about and you can see two people walking together. So any people will do. They can be involved in friendship, they can be colleagues walking together, but you want to be in a big enough space, a big mall or a park, so that you can watch people for a while as they have a conversation and walk and just notice what happens when one person makes a change, when they go a little faster, when they stop to look at something, or maybe they stop because they have an important point to emphasize. Watch what the other person does, who is following and who is leading moment to moment. And you should be able to watch a normal kind of connection where sometimes one person is leading and sometimes the other person is leading. After you're starting to notice more every time you watch people without any words, you can go and watch people sitting and talking, maybe at a restaurant or see them across a meeting room. Anywhere where you can just observe two people talking, but you can't really hear what they're saying. You might be able to hear a little bit of kind of murmuration of their voices, but you don't get distracted by the ideas they're sharing. And again, you're watching when one person makes a change in expression, in gestures, in emphasis and energy, what happens to the other person? And how does that lead move back and forth between the two of them in a conversation? Finally, watch people have a conversation that you can hear. It's hard because every time we hear something, we have an opinion on it. Our brain is always matching external patterns to what we have stored in memory and processing. And we generate thoughts about what we're hearing, which interfere with our ability just to observe the nonverbal interaction of two people to see what's really going on. But because most of our life is lived in conversation, it is important. Watch two people talking and notice how they pick up each other's words and phrasing, how they pick up each other's changes in direction in the conversation, and continue to notice all their nonverbals. After doing all of this for whatever time it takes for you to feel that you're starting to see more, then start using that internal pattern of what it's like to observe and taking a moment in your own conversations to kind of step back mentally. And instead of paying attention to the words, let the words go for a moment and just replay that interaction of the nonverbals that told you so much when you were watching people walk about who was leading and who was following. You'll probably find you have more influence than you think you do, and you'll be able to direct it better when you're more aware of it. I'm Linda Ferguson. For more tips and more practices that make a real difference, follow us at NLP Canada Training.